Good morning, everyone. I hope you guys are doing good. Today, we are again redoing a session, but I've added some more details about NEET because I think I did not talk in detail about the NEET examination. So we are going to run through the entire thing. So today we are going to talk about CET, JEE Main. I'll also cover some part of advanced there. Then NEET, we'll talk about the course structure that we're going to teach at Trinity, right? And finally, meet your teachers. So if there's any students who have attended the meeting last time, do you know anything about CET? Can you write that in the chat box and tell me? See, there's limited number of participants. Let's keep this absolutely interactive. That is, if you would like to. Otherwise, I'll go on yapping. Any students who were there last time? Okay, there's someone who's CET is conducted by Maharashtra government. Excellent. You have written grade 10th. If you would either tell me your name or rename yourself, that would be wonderful. Grade 10th, what's your name? Khadija. Excellent, Khadija. Yes, indeed, it is conducted by the government of Maharashtra. And as we already know, the key benefit of CET is first and foremost, it is conducted by the government of Maharashtra. And then the paper pattern, I think, have discussed that last time, 11, 12, and then we have the CET. Why is CET important? If you appear for CET, you are eligible to take admission in any and every engineering college within Maharashtra. You cannot take after writing CET or based on the CET score, you cannot take admission. Let's say in an engineering college in Goa or UP or anywhere else for that matter. So this is exclusive for citizens of Maharashtra and people who have a domicile of Maharashtra, either or, right? You could attempt. There's one more category if you are a, sorry, Khadija, you want me to repeat which part, Khadija? Okay, I'll repeat the entire thing, doesn't matter. So the CET program, MHCET program, the MH basically stands for Maharashtra Common Eligibility Test or entrance test. It is exclusive, so you can't hear me. Am I audible to everyone else, or is that only an concern with Khadija? I'll need to know this.
You're very audible. You're very clear.
Okay, okay, fine. I mean, Khadija, probably some internet issues. Yep, thank you. I said you need to either be a citizen of Maharashtra or you need to have a domicile certificate of Maharashtra, or if you are into a, if your parents are central government employees, those are certain cases in which you are able to write this examination. The benefit of writing this examination is that there's no negative marking. The qualifying marks is 1. Now, that doesn't mean you should get 1 mark in this test, right? So the total examination is worth 200 marks. There are 2 combinations, PCM and PCB. Where CET is concerned, I would say PCM is more important than PCB because PCB here is limited for admission to either agriculture or pharmacy. Now, out of these 2, pharmacy can also be opted in via PCM. So basically, you cannot enter any medical colleges by attempting CET examination. So that is not the case. So people who are studying biology rather than math, and if you want to get either into pharmacy or if you want to get either into agriculture, because that's also a very important domain, right? Then PCB attempt for CET would be valid for you. Otherwise, for everything else, for engineering, for any colleges, for pharmacy even, students can just appear for PCM. Now that's 1 mark for, the question is 1 mark for physics and chemistry, for 2 marks per question for mathematics. So that's about 100 marks here and 100 marks here. And that's how it comes to be 200 marks. That's basically, and I think last time I said I'd like to repeat that because that's a very important thing. We have some wonderful engineering colleges in Maharashtra that you could get in through CET. A key example in Pune would be COEP, right? In Bombay, we have JTI and there are few other colleges as well, right? So CET is important. All engineering aspirants, I would urge you do not miss out on attempting your CET. Right? The second test was JEE main. JEE is Joint Entrance Examination. It is conducted in two levels. First level is called as the main, and the second level is called as advanced. Right? CET is for engineering colleges admission within Maharashtra state. JEE examination, JEE main especially, is for admission to engineering colleges across the entire country. Right? That's what. If you appear for JEE main and you want to, let's say, go to BHU, the Banaras Hindu University, and you want to get your engineering done from there, you could, with the marks of JEE, you could go there and seek an admission. Similarly, if you want to go to Chennai or some other place and go to some wonderful colleges there, you could do that, right? Now, as I said, there are two levels to JEE, JEE main and JEE advanced, right? What is the difference? Let's compare CET, that's MSCET, I'm just calling it as CET, JEE main and JEE advanced. Let's understand the hierarchy that each exam has. CET, again, I'm repeating again because this should be drilled down into students, especially those who are willing to appear for engineering examinations. CET is limited to state. JEE main is for all the engineering colleges in the entire country. And JEE advanced is for those students who want to go into IITs. IIT is basically Indian Institute of Technology. These are the premier most colleges in the country for engineering. I mean, as you say, the cream de la cream, those type of students go to these colleges, right? What are the benefits of studying or doing your engineering from IIT? I mean, a gazillion advantages. I think last time I spoke about campus placement, that's just one. But IIT is basically focused on the entire domain of an individual rather than only academics. They do not only focus on academics. I think I spoke about Tech Fest that happens in IIT Bombay. And students, I really encourage, I'm not sure with the COVID situation, how would it be? But probably those of you in 11th standard right now, by the next year, I think the fest should take place with limited entrance or something like that. If you get an opportunity, do go there and see it. Even 10th grade students for that matter. I mean, you'll have 3 years time to go and see that. The campus is beautiful. There are these huge courts for football, badminton, all sort of games, right? They're humongous. I mean, huge is not a word. Humongous would be more appropriate for this. That's one. Secondly, the tech test also have these something called a robot fights. So you build up a robot and an arena that they create, and they're supposed to fight. It's pretty interesting. For the gearhead, I mean, there's no better place than IIT, right? So how do you get into IIT? You write the JEE main examination, right? So on an average, about 12 to 13 odd lakh students every year attempt the JEE main paper. Out of those, let's say 12 lakh students, about 2.5 lakh are selected to attempt the JEE paper. Okay? Now, out of these 2.5 lakh students, about the first 30,000 students get a rank. And the first 13,000 students are admitted into IIT. So out of, let's say, out of 12 lakh, 13 lakh students, there's only hardly about 10,000 students who get into IIT. It's pretty coveted. And I mean, it's so special that if you have to clear your JEE advanced, I'm not even talking about coming in top. I mean, if you have to be a topper for JEE advanced examination, let's say you stay in Pune, somewhere near NIBM. I'm just assuming hypothetically. And if you were to get AIR, that's All India Rank 1 in JEE Advanced, you'll be famous instantly. I think the media across Pune would come and visit your house to take an interview because it's a huge, huge achievement. You'll be an example for everyone else in your community, right? So you become a rock star of engineers. And even when you go to IIT colleges, they ask generally your All India ranking. And the moment you say AIR 1, oh my God, you're kept on a pedestal. right? So to aim for that is a good thing. But if you don't get that, I think that should be okay. The broader aim should be to get into IITs for engineers, right? If you don't want to get into IITs, the second best colleges would be the NITs. NITs are National Institute of Technology. Usually NITs are like one per state, right? So NITs are much better, and then you could go to the other state colleges. That's the basic idea about JEE mains, JEE advanced. Finally, coming, so by the way, this is a list of 23 IITs. So there's only about 23 IITs. I think the first IIT that was established was IIT Kharagpur. That was the very first IIT that was established. I'm assuming I may be wrong in this. My memory fails me here. Right. Coming to talk about NEET. NEET is the only and only examination that a medical aspirant has to appear. If you want to get into medicine, if you want to become a doctor, now that could be MBBS, that could be BDS, that could be in Ayurveda, that could be in physiotherapy, that could be in veterinary science, anything and everything. NEET is one exam that you need to be focused on. Also, you could get entry into AFMC through NEET. What is AFMC? AFMC is Armed Forces Medical College, which is in Pune itself, right? So you just need to focus on this one single examination. The paper pattern would be for NEET, there'll be about 180 questions. For every right answer, you get 4 marks. For every wrong answer, you get -1. So if you see here, physics 45 questions, chemistry 45 questions, and bio, total bio, that includes your botany and zoology, that's 90 questions. In fact, bio is bifurcated as 45 questions for botany and 45 questions for zoology. Students in lower standards who don't know what is botany and zoology, botany is basically the study of plants and zoology is the study of animals. So humans, basically, we are part of zoology, right? So if you were to be totally focused on only one examination, you should be okay with that. You should be okay. I believe the goal for writing NEET should be able to secure a government seat. And if you're to score anything above 400, 450, I think that's a good place as a target, to get into government seat. Why are government colleges so coveted when it comes to, being a doctor? There are lots of private colleges and then there are these government colleges. See, if you become a doctor, you always say you're practicing. You never say, I have practiced. That's never the term that you use. So who will become a better doctor? Who treats more patients, who sees more patients, who study more patients, or someone who just studies 1 or 2 patients? With the government colleges, I mean, with the population of our country, the number of patients that you're able to interact with is humongous. With a private college or with a private hospital, that's not the case, right? That's one. Secondly, the fees. I mean, with private colleges, you'll for MBBS, which is like people say that's the most, that's the best degree for being a doctor, but that doesn't have to be so. You could be a BDS doctor, you could be into Ayurveda and still be better than someone who's done BDS or MBBS. So what happens in a private college, the donation goes to a tune of 10 lakhs, 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, depending on your performance and stuff like that. And the fees, the per term fees is about lakh, 2 lakh rupees. With government colleges, that's nothing. With government colleges, there's no donation in the first place. The fees is what, about 10,000, 50,000 per term, which is still manageable, right? And you have best of the doctors in government colleges. So that's where you need to focus on to get yourself into government college rather than into private college. As I said, the score, what you're looking for to get into government college is about 450, 500. That's the basic thing. And one more advantage is, a lot of medical seats in Goa remains empty. So if you don't get placed into any government colleges in Maharashtra, Goa is a good option because Goa is pretty close to us. People know Goa only for tourism, right? But Goa also has good medical colleges. So you could also, look into that. That's one. Then So for engineering, as I said, there's these local colleges, and then there's this IIT, which is like the top for engineering. Similarly, for medicine, the top colleges would be AIMS, AIIMS, which is basically All India Institute of Medical Science. The closest AIMS that we have is in Nagpur, right? Earlier, about 6 or 8 years ago, there was only one single AIMS, which was in Delhi. Delhi. They had about what, 8 to 12 seats. That's it. Today, we have close. I was just studying, including your reservations and everything, you have close to 1,000 seats, it seems, right? But again, if you get into AIMS, nothing beats it. That's the best place. So, as I said, engineering aspirants should, at least aim for IITs. Medical students should aim for AIMS, right? It's not AIMS in some other government college for medical students. That's the basic idea. So what we are going to teach over here, we are going to, as I said, we are also going to teach bio, but bio is depending, we have a minimum set of students, that is about 30 odd students. This is apart from your college, this is a coaching for competitive examinations that we are going to do. So we'll be teaching basically PCM and B, provided, as I said, we have minimum students. That could be done as of now online, and once the college resumes, it will be done in the college premises as well. So we have some special teachers who will be teaching this. So by the way, this is the entire course structure, the duration and the times when we are going to teach. So for 11th standard, we are going to start the session from the 1st of July and we'll continue till February next year. Then we'll start from 1st April. We are not fooling you. I understand 1st April is April Fools, but we'll start. That's a tentative date depending on when your school examinations get over. And then one more month of April. Similarly for 12th standard, again, we start with 1st July and that in February, and then one more month of April. So these are the timelines of the course. Apart from that, some teachers that will be teaching you, I'm going to name teachers for physics, chemistry, and mathematics. Asad, I think I've spoken about him in very high regards last time. Same stands true even now. He has done his master's in engineering. He is a wizard when it comes to physics, right? Why do I know? I understand because I myself am a physics teacher, right? So I understand Asad is like his concepts and the delivery of those concepts is on point, right? He's been teaching for the last 4 years for competitive examinations. One of that is for Pilani, with Pilani Institute, that is also one examination that you could appear because you could get entry into BITSAT for engineering through JE as well and BITSAT as well. So there are some institutes who have still kept their own, for example, in earlier days, a lot of institutes had their own examinations. For example, AIMS had an AIMS qualifying test. JIPMA had its own qualifying test. BITSAT also used to have a test, but now BITSAT is like, no, you'll have to write mine. They have made it compulsory. So if you want to get into Pilani Institute, again, pretty good institutes, all right? The best of all the Pilani institutes would be BITS Pilani, that is in Pilani. Pilani is a place in Pakistan. The others in different places across country and even internationally are not so good. I mean, the one in Dubai, they promise a lot of things, but it doesn't make sense in going to BITS Dubai. It simply doesn't make sense because it's not as good as what is there in Pilani. If you're also aiming for BITS, it has to be BITS Pilani, not any other BITS. There's BITS Goa, which is also decent. Right? Second is Uday. Uday has done his bachelor's in engineering. He's pursuing his B.Ed. He's been teaching for the last 5 years. I think this guy, Uday, he has already cracked a government examination and he was eligible to join the government. He was supposed to get a government job. He denied that job. He's like, he'll still want to continue teaching. That's how much passionate Uday is about it. Finally, Wasim sir he has done his MSc, he has done his B.Ed and a teacher qualifying examination, NET. He's got an all India rank of 7 in this, and he's been teaching for the last 10 years, right? For bio, again, we have a couple of teachers, so we could, I will introduce them once we have sufficient number of biology students. And finally, for any query or questions about these uh, courses that we are offering, you can contact Mr. Avinash Yeole. That's his phone number, 913-008-1063. Please make a note of that. And if you have any query or questions, you could feel free to ask him. Right? I think that's it from my side, people. Thank you. We would open the session for question and answer sessions right now. Students, if you have any query, any questions, please, this is the time that you could ask me. Okay. What is the qualification for getting into it? It is NEET examination. There's only one examination for medical, anything, Khadija. You have to write the NEET examination. So you write NEET and be a qualify in that, you should be okay.
Children, we request you to ask
Anyone else,
questions.
any other question?
Please ask questions to sir. Any queries, any doubts?
I was left with one question during last session. Please do ask. That's why we repeated it again, Khadija. Please feel free to ask your question. Khadija, I'm waiting for you.
Katisha,
Anyone else? Please do. Yeah, you can talk to me, and that's okay.
Yeah, and talk to sir. You can talk to sir.
What are some smart ways of preparing for NEET? Okay, so basically, it's not only for NEET. Basically, I'll reframe the question as to what are the smart ways of studying. See, there's a huge difference between studying and learning, right? You're not supposed to study, you're supposed to learn. I'm not sure how many of you would understand the difference between these two things. Unfortunately, our entire education right now is something where a lot of stress, at least up to 10th standard, is given to mugging up answers. So you might be a topper, and if you're just mugging up, you're rote learning your answers, you cannot appear or you cannot attempt your competitive examination. I mean, you can, but you won't do good in them. Because what do these competitive examinations need is a clarity of concept. Because once you know the concept thoroughly, nicely, from every angle, from every different perspective, when you know that particular content of that concept, then if the question is asked from any angle, you'll be able to attempt that. Now, what do you do about it? How do you study about this? So when you, for example, you want to get into medicine career, let's say you're studying about the cell. So let's say the teacher, the syllabus says, okay, there's only, let's say, it's talk about normal animal cell. Let's talk about an amoeba. They're talking only about an amoeba, right? So try to research everything about amoeba. How did it evolve and stuff like that, right? Why is it? And try to create those detailed boards. Actually, boards are also important, by the way. I'm not saying boards are not important. Start creating your own notes. Today, the resources available online are plentiful, right? And once you understand different types of cells, what are the different parts, how did they evolve, what is the RNA composition or DNA composition and stuff like that. How did RNA evolve into DNA? Or what are the codings for DNA? And there's so many more, right? And create your notes, illustrate them, create a mind map. Now, when I say mind map, your mind map and my mind map could be different. I may understand it when I illustrate things and label them in a very colorful way, right? That's one way to do it. The other way to it, simply make those block patterns to understand the flow of concepts. So you need to. It's a experimentation phase. So you need to at least spend about a month time experimenting to understand in what way do you understand concepts better. It could be different for Rana. It could be different for Khadija. It could be different for me, right? It could be different from Adnan or anyone else for that matter. So all you need to do is try to find that point in which you say, I understand this subject the best in this way. It may not be true for what is true for bio, may not be true for physics, but you take some time. I mean, you're in 10th standard, you have some time on your hand, there are vacations going on. This is the time, buy some, if you're very clear about doing into, medicine, buy your textbooks already, 11th standard text, start preparing. There are two types of students. who like, all right, I'll prepare only during examinations. There's someone who's very diligent about it. See, I'm not saying you're supposed to study 24 hours a day. That's not even possible. You study for 3 hours a day, but those 3 hours should be you should have laser focus. Half the times, I'll tell you about 90-95% of the students, what do? They pretend to be studying, open their books, they sit in front of the parents or teachers. The thought is elsewhere. And they'll be 5 hours sitting in front of the book and they'll be like, Mama, nahi hua. Spending 5 hours. Rather than that, spend 1 hour, but be completely there, right? You would be able to do much better. In those 5 hours, what happens? You study one line, and then you're like, oh, my friend said this, and then you start weaving those threads, and your train of thought, I don't know, it goes to which planet. So be focused when you're studying. Study for 1 hour, study for 2 hours, but those 2 hours should be absolutely focused study. 2 hours continuous focus is not possible. So study in breaks. Let's say 45 minutes, 45 minutes, or 1 hour, 1 hour, and stuff like that. Right? You do that. Fine. I hope so. I've answered your question, Khadija. Sandeep Joshi, you're asking, so can you explain about KBPY examination stream, that is SA, SX, and SB? What is the difference between them and the eligibility criterion? SA, SX, and SB basically is the examination. As I said, it could be attempted when you are in your 11th standard, 12th standard, and FYBs. So SA is your 11th standard, SX, I think, is your 12th standard, and SB is your FYBSC. So those are just terms that have been allotted. For 11th standard, they have said SA. They could have simply said 11th standard, but they chose to say SA. They could have chose to name it as hippopotamus. It doesn't matter. SA is basically when you're in 11th standard, you can appear for KVPY. What is the difference? I think those are just years when you could attempt the examination. Eligibility criteria is till the time you're studying science, and I think you have scored more than 75% in your last examination, you could appear for KVPY examination. I think July, today is 24th of June, next week, July onwards, the first week, the forms for KVPY would release. I really urge, and I insist that all the students who wants to get into science appear for this examination. Even though you don't want to get into research, you'll understand what quality of questions are asked. So this is basically like a dummy attempt, for your future competitive examination. And I think what the form fees is about 500 rupees. That's nothing. You go out for one pizza, you spend more than that, right? So do appear for this, right? Sandeep, I hope I've answered your query. If you have anything related to this content, I'd like to answer that first before I move to someone else. Sandeep? Is biology? No, it is not compulsory. You could appear in 3 combinations, PCM or PCB. You could do either or. If you're doing it in 11th based on 10th, then that would be combined. But once you're in 12th standard or F5, it is not compulsory. Sandeep, any more query about KVPY? Okay, done. Thank you. Moving on to Khadija. So when should I start coaching, and does an average student really need to attend coaching for securing topics? All right. When should you start studying? As Kabir says, "Kal kare so aaj, aaj kare so ab." I mean, that's what I like. If you are very serious, becoming a doctor is not an easy task. Let me get this straight. Even when you become doctor, it's a very humble, it's a very noble profession, and it has a lot of responsibility. You're interacting with humans; their life depends on you. So the more you know, the better you could treat, and the better you could help society. So Khadija, if you really want to get into medicine, start now. Start now. I'm not saying do not do any other thing. So if you like, I don't know, if your hobbies, you like playing something, you like doing something, you like singing, you like dancing, you like art and craft, also continue with that. These studies should not consume us. We should consume studies. There's a difference in these two statements. really okay, Vansh asked that question and Vansh is not present. All right. So if Khadija, if you were to talk to Vansh, you could tell him that hospital management uh, science, right? And then you do a graduation and post graduation. There's an option in Sancheti Hospital in Pune from which you could get into hospital management. Or there's one more option. You could also get into hospital management through AIMS. But for that, you need to be an MBBS. If you're an MBBS, then you could also do hospital management from AIMS. So there's two options, right? AIMS one is better, of course, but you could also in Pune, Sanchiti has a 2-year diploma course, I think. So he could also go that route. If you would inform him, that would be wonderful. All right, guys, come on. Anyone else? You don't have any questions?
Yet another very wonderful session, Mr. Sarji.
Thank you so much.
How to be focused towards your goal. You have another question coming up your way. How to be focused towards
How
your
to
goal.
be focused towards your goal? Ronak, Ronak, can you unmute yourself, please? Ronak?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi. Ronak, what do you want to become?
So right now I'm studying for JE.
Oh, excellent. You want to get into JE. And you're saying how to be focused towards getting into what, IIT or any other engineering college, right?
IIT.
IIT, excellent. Uh, okay, tell me one thing, Ronak. Do you know this nursery rhyme called Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?
Yes, sir.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
You're 100% sure you know this nursery rhyme. It's pretty difficult, I think.
No, sir, I know it.
Sure. I mean, can you say that to me once?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above
Uh-huh.
the world so high, like a diamond in the sky.
Thank you so much. Yeah, bravo. Good job. You know what? I'll tell you why did I even ask. You probably learned this, when you were about what, 2.5 years old, when you just started talking, and your parents were behind your back. Every now and then, जहाँ पे खाली इनफैक्ट इतना ज़्यादा repeat होता था ये कि if there were any guests who were coming to your house, you'll be made to stand in front of them. मेरे twinkle twinkle आता है. What I'm trying to, if I were to ask that 2.5-year-old Rana or 2 years old Rana, how was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star? I believe you might have said, I don't even know what the heck this is. My parents are just asking me to repeat, right? And I'm doing it. Same case, you're in, I think, which standard are you in right now, Rana? 10th, 11th,
So I have given the boards.
or 10th boards, right?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. How was it? How were your examinations? How did you find your 10th standard?
Sir, it was good.
Excellent. Now, a lot of times, when I ask students about how was physics in 10th standard, like, oh my God, do not even talk about physics. Who even invented? I mean, the classic dialogue is, वो apple क्यों गिरा Newton के ऊपर जो the tree should have fallen on Newton's head, right? What I'm trying to say is, if you have to repeat things continuously, you will try to build first, the ability to sit down at a place and study. Once you have that, then slowly and slowly, as you're repeating, you need to. The initial days are pretty difficult to be used to. Because your brain is in a position. And whenever this comfort zone is taken out of the brain will try to, don't study what's the point in it, right? So the brain becomes our master. All we need to do is we need to become the master of the brain. And how will that happen? When you refrain from what the brain is saying and you're still sitting. For example, let's say, Ronak, you're sitting and studying and your best friend calls you up, right? And you're doing something important. Your brain will like, hey, pick it up. It's your best friend. Talk to him, talk to her, whatever it is, right? But if you tell the brain, no, right now I'm prioritizing my studies over my friend, that's when the brain could learn to focus because the brain understands this is important. The brain should know this is important and this is your goal. Only when that happens that you could be focused very much in doing it. Couple of ways. One way is to choose a place in your house and sit there every day, every time, even when you're doing one single sum. Go to that corner of your house and sit there. Why? Because the brain would associate that place with studies. So your focus would automatically snap in the moment you sit there. I'll give you an example. Right now, I don't know where do you sit for studies. I'm assuming a lot of students choose to sit on the bed to study. And typically what happens when you sit on the bed to study, you open your book, you sit straight for a minute, then you relax. Then थोड़ी देर में, you just slide down. And then after that, the blanket is on top of you and you're already snoring aloud, right? Why? The bed is a place meant to rest and meant to sleep. And you have been doing ever since you were a kid. So the brain has associated that place for comfort. So the moment you go there, even you have woken up from sleep, you'll end up, snoozing off. Similarly, okay, let's say if you go to a place of worship, maybe a church, maybe a mosque, or maybe a temple, would you go there and play Badshah ka ya, I don't know, Honey Singh ka songs over there? You won't, because that place is meant for worship. Similarly, dedicate a corner of your house and day after day, every day, every time, without fail, sit that same place days after 20 days. Even if you're not in a mood of studies, the moment you go and sit there, your brain would realign and like, okay, this is study wala place. Let's practical ways I'm saying to be this. No. These are very practical ways into just divert your attention and get them into studying. Also, learn to prioritize. Learn to prioritize over things. Always ask this question to yourself at this point of time, at this instance, what is more important? This is not only for Ronak, this is for everyone. I mean, Ronak asked a very nice question. Thank you, Ronak. Because if that happens, what happens, you'll be able to pay attention or, do justice to your studies. Otherwise, what happens, so a classic example, especially with the cell phones so common these days, your parents, I'm sure, would have a very perennial complaint, my child is always with the phone, on TikTok, on PUBG, on all those other stuff. And you always promise your mom, you know what, mom, I'm going to leave it from tomorrow. But you never do. And then you tell your mom when you're fighting with your mom or dad, you're like, you don't trust me. Why will they trust you? Because you have promised them, I don't know, a gazillion times that you're not going to touch your cell phone, and yet you do. Also, one more problem that I'm diverging slightly, of course, but this is important to address, right? A lot of students I meet or I counsel, they always have this one complaint that my parents don't understand me. Dude, you know what? When you were born, when you were about 1 month old, you used to wake up in the night crying, that high-pitched whining, I would say. Your mother still understood what you wanted, whether it was your stomach ache, whether you were hungry or what you were. And now you're saying when you can make these comprehensive statements, you're saying your parents cannot understand you. You need to do some amount of soul searching for that. Right? So do not say that your parents don't understand you. They do, right? And if you're saying they're not listening to you, no parents do. Their brains are wired for something else, right? They're absolutely for something else. Your brains are wired. Your parents belong to a different generation. You belong to a different generation. Your brains are wired for something else. Their brains are wired for something else. Ideally, as a rule of thumb, your parents will never understand. If they do, you're lucky. If they don't, it's normal. कोई बड़ा आफत नहीं आया है आपको, right? Right. I digress, but this was I feel because I'm always addressing students community. I feel this is important to talk to them about. Sometimes we habit of listening to music while studying. How should we get away from this? This a lot of students tell me, especially while doing mathematics, I like to listen to music and I like to do this and all that. Only way you could do this, take your phone while you're studying, give it to your mom's hand. Those are the most secure hands in this world. And say, जब तक मेरा पढ़ाई होता नहीं ये देना नहीं. Thursday, your ears and your brain would be like, oh, are you stupid? You're not listening to music. What the heck are you doing with your life? Your brain will always try to, move you out of what you want to do, because the brain right now, I believe, is already in a comfortable zone when, it likes to listen to music and try to do something, right? But the moment you try to change that, your brain is like, dude, what's up? What are you doing, right? You need to tell your brain, what, boss, listen to me. Music is good. I'm not saying music is bad. When you don't have anything, when I say music is good, I don't want you to listen to this songs that you guys are listening these days. Something between Emiway and Bata, and they are not going to do anything. They're just going to work you up. Listen to some nice songs, instrumental songs. Listen to Beethoven. I mean, I know when I say Beethoven, you'll be like, what? Beethoven has died about a couple of centuries ago. So dude, listen to the symphonies that he created. They're beautiful. They help you de-stress. These type of music, instrumental music, Beethoven, Bach, and all these, they help you de-stress. It's really important that you get into that. Once you get into that, you'll be amazed at what and how it plays with your mind. I think, Sonak, I've answered your query and question. Right? Anyone else has any query, any questions? Ronak, do you have any questions, more questions about, adding on? Khadija, thank you so much, Khadija.
This was more of a counseling session, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right.
I absolutely loved it, and I'm sure children are going to take back so much more from this session. Not just technically, but also, in terms of directions, in terms of realigning, like you said, their own selves.
Right.
So it was really wonderful, Mr. Sheikh. Very wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Children, do you have any more questions for sir? What are the benefits of getting a degree
from ISER? ISER, if you want to get into pure science, so the gold standard for research of pure science is ISA. For example, I like to reiterate it because when you repeat, it just seeps into our head. The gold standards for engineering is IIT. The gold standards for medicine is AIMS. The gold standard for pure science is ISA. Once you go to ISA, you do, let's say, your PhD from ISA, you get employment most of the times to government agencies itself. You could go abroad to Ivy League colleges and you still get admissions pretty easily because you have an ISA degree. ISA get jobs into research. You get funding from the government if you have done it from ISA because the government trusts you. If I have done my BSc from, let's say, Ferguson, which is a good college, right? And if I've, let's say, and if you, Sandeep, have done your BSc from ISA, if we go to the government for funding something that you're doing, the government will believe you more than what they'll do me because you have done the BSc from ISA. So ISA, one of my life goals was to get into research, but unfortunately, at a very young age, I had to start teaching, and that was always pushed back. I couldn't get into ISA. To get into ISA was one thing that I wanted to do, and maybe in the future, I'm not sure about it. But ISA, as I said, you do normal BSc or you do by ISA scrub BSc. There's job placements, campus placements, and governmental positions in ISRO, in BARC, in TIFR. All these places you could get postings pretty easily if you're through ISA. And does that answer you? You have any more questions about it? Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Sandeep. Anyone else wants to ask anything?
Any more questions coming in? So one day, Mr. Sheikh, instead of having an orientation program, I would actually like to discuss the journey of your career in life. Looks all very interesting.
My career. All right.
So maybe 10, 15 minutes before an orientation, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to request you to inspire the students because you seem to know a lot. You've been into this industry of teaching since 16 years, I'm told. So that is really wonderful. And now you're going to be tutoring our students at Trinity. So we're really looking forward to having you on board. I guess we have no more questions coming in. Would like to conclude this session?
Yeah, that should be all right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, students.
A very big thank you.
Thanks.
Very big thank you to you, sir. Wonderful session yet again. I'm sure I'm going to get requests pouring in again for another session.
Thank you.
Thank you, participants. Thank you, students. Wonderful to see you all here. Wonderful to see you asking so many questions, clearing your doubts. We do this just for you all, so that you have clarity. So next time we organize things for you, please make sure you call in your friends, have your family members, children who are interested, spread the word around and join. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll take your leave and say goodbye. Take care.
Bye-bye. Yeah.